things in a LV, Let's Venture, which is which include the analysis of the startup, sensing of a startup, whether it's mature for the funding or it's still not require any funding. So a lot of analytics work they do, and then they also do the which we call the pre-DD, and then also they communicate to the startup, engage the startup with the investor, and a lot of things are happen. So with this initial brief, I hand overing the session to Lokesh, and Lokesh, once again welcome in the program, and thanks for joining here. Over to you.
Thank you, Mahendraji, for the lovely introduction. And it's good to see all of you guys joining in, and I can see some of the faces. Great to have such a wide, diverse cohort over here, especially people belonging from the faculties who are, nurturing a lot of students in India and helping them, to make a bright future, especially motivating them for the, entrepreneurship. So kudos to you guys for taking this initiative. Telling something about myself, I have done engineering as a part of my education, and then I started working with startups. I worked with two startups. One was into early stage, one is into a growth stage, as part of the founder's office, and have devised strategy on worked on a strategic level with founders, helped them raise their Series A and Series B rounds up to $30 million. And I have worked with an international investment bank, which was based in Italy, and have invested in various deep tech startups, early stage deep tech startups, which we used to pick from universities, and have scaled them to as good as $30 million companies. From last more than 1.5 years, I'm part of Let's Venture. It is India's biggest angel fund, which has invested close to 1,400 crores in the last 5 years. I over there, of course, screen startups and find the right deals where the Let's Venture fund can invest. We have both angel fund and a venture capital fund. Both are category one alternate investment funds, and I also manage private funds. So at Let's Venture, so seeing the entire ecosystem from the founder side and the investor side from a very close quarter, and have worked on the both sides of the table. This has really helped me to understand what the startups are looking for, and how investors are looking at startups and what they are looking for. So this session will be more of like a very interactive session. That's what I want to keep. So just I will give you like some pointers and some knowledge to share for the next 15 minutes. Then I would like to open it up for the Q&A, and would like to even if you guys do not have a lot of questions, we would like to make it a more interactive session so that there is a participation from each one of you guys, right? I hope there is no problem with my connection as of now, and you all of you guys are getting my voice properly.
Yes,
So,
it's all clear.
yes, seeing the diversity of the cohort, I would like to keep the session in bilingual language. I will be flipping between Hindi and English. Let me know if you is anyone have problem with either of them. Uh, so, just I would like to start with the few on a very few macro perspective, right? Uh, as you guys are enrolled into a program where you are will be working with the students in your respective colleges or the departments, to help them understand this about the startup ecosystem, investments, and nurture them and take them to the help them with the next levels. uh, on a macro perspective, why the India has a very startups in India has a very bright future and perspective, prospect. So I would just like to take a few couple of minutes to dwell into the macroeconomics parameter which is happening in India. As we all know, the India growth story right now, right, and it's all over the place, and all the rating agencies, all the investment banks, and big economic organizations are speaking about India's growth and how it will keep on growing for the next 5, 7, 10 years because of various factors which gives us a lot of advantage. But a lot of what one a peculiar thing which is happening in the financial markets is that especially into the public markets, which has risen a lot after the COVID-19, and has been giving crazy amount of returns which has they have never given year on year. So we are also seeing a lot of savings of the Indian people are coming into the stock market. So talking about the statistics, as of now, there are only 4.5% of the savings of Indian people which has come into the stock market, and it is we are seeing a lot of catastrophic events around the globe, but still our Indian stock market is keep on growing. Now that is because of the new inflow of retail investors and savings which is coming into the market. Uh, if you compare the data to US, right, where the savings ratio, savings percentage, which is invested into the stock market is more than 44%. Now, of course, for if even if it becomes a 4.5 for India, it goes to 14-15%, we will see the Sensex getting or Nifty getting doubled from what it is right now. Now, what it this will do eventually is that there are limited amount of companies which are there into the public market, right? There are those 1,000 and 1,200 companies where 99% of the investors and mutual funds and every institutional investor is investing into. Now what it has led to is a very over bloated p price to earning ratios, which are and companies getting supremely high valuation than what they really would get, right, in an ideal scenario. Now what this will do, this will is going to create a lot of suction pressure from the public market, that it will so that for more and more companies to come into the market, because a lot of inflow of money is going to keep on coming in the years to come, as the more and more savings of Indian public is going to into the stock market. Now all of these companies, where they will come from, they will come from the private market, that is from the startup ecosystem. That's why we are seeing a lot of startups are going for IPOs. Some of them are also becoming successful IPO stories as well. A lot of SMEs are going into IPOs, giving crazy returns. So this is going to create a lot of suction pressure for the startup ecosystem to come up with better, with even better companies and come up with a very at a very fast pace. Yeah. So now that this because of all of these macro parameters, this is very clear that we will see a lot of investments coming into the startup ecosystem, both from Indian side, Indian investors, and from outside India as well. Now this makes us makes us very apparent that guys and students who are also now going into the startup ecosystem, if they are able to develop something which has a value into the market, and where it has buyers and able to build a business on good fundamentals, they are going to do very well off in the future. Now talking about why investments are important for the startups, right? You will see budding entrepreneurs who has working on in some sort of idea, and most of them with these ideas, students start working into their college, or even after they work in after their college, they already have thought of it during their college time. Now as we know, a lot of middle class people are coming into the startup ecosystem. Of course, there is a limitation of cash, and there is a limitation of grants, which also the institution, the public bodies can provide. Hence, it becomes very imperative for them to reach out to the formal way of investments, which is through the angel ecosystems and through the venture capital ecosystem. Now there are multiple ways in which startups are raising grants. Startups are raising grants as well as funding these days. With the grants, there are multiple government policies, as well as institutional grants which are given by colleges itself, and everybody has come up with their own programs as per depending on their budgets. But apart from the government and the formal way of basically government and institutional grants, there are a lot of opportunities for budding entrepreneurs into the public private market as well, where they can raise rounds from the angel ecosystems. Now, as Let's Venture, we have our alternate investment funds, right? And we also have some sort of limitation because we usually invest in a lot of pre-series A company, series A company, or some seed stage companies which are mature. But because of the alternate investment funds, a lot of small micro funds has emerged, which are willing to put a check of 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs, and they want to take the bets very early on, because for an investor, that is where the maximum returns comes at. Of course, it is risky, but it's a high risk, high return game. So that is why they are looking for opportunities to invest in companies where where they are coming up with innovative solution or technology, or has made a product which is solving a very real problem into this world. Uh, that is why there's a lot of opportunity for them to invest. Plus so there is a demand at the supply side, demand at the demand side as well, right? Now this is the angel ecosystem that we are talking about, which has, of course, if you see a lot of companies, of course, until unless it's a very mature company, these guys have developed a 50 crore 60 crore bootstrap business, they're going for venture capital funding directly. But a primary resource source which has occurred for for raising the funds is through the angel ecosystem. There are a lot of platforms like Let's Venture, Catalyst, and IPV. There is Real Time Angels, Angelist, which is a US based platform. They have also emerged where companies can go live to the investors, and apart before seeking funds from institutional investors, from very big VCs who has which a long process, and you need a lot of network to get into. Uh, Angel ecosystem and these platforms are a very approachable and accessible way of raising your initial capital. Now, why investors also become important in your journey is not just because of the capital. Of course, that is a primary thing which they are bringing in, but also investors bring a lot of knowledge, domain expertise, and they can help you to build strategic partnerships, get more traction, customers, and also because of the other companies they have in their portfolio, they can bring more business. They can help you to talk to your budding entrepreneurs who are working in maybe in different sectors, or maybe in the same sector as well. So there's a lot of resource sharing, skill sharing, knowledge sharing, and expertise which is given by the investors, whether they are angels, whether they are venture capitalists. Of course, when VCs when come into the picture, they bring a lot of their institutional capabilities. They have the entire team structures and processes to follow. But at the early on, since I think you guys are also going to be working with startups which are into very nascent stage. Now, one thing which has changed into the market, especially for the very early stage startups at pre-seed and seeds level. So just to clarify this, pre-seed is the first step at which a startup has some sort of idea and they start to make into product or the service. They go out in the market. That's more of a seed stage funding. This is the first level of funding. And then usually when they are ready with their minimal viable product, they go into the pre-series round. And when they can see there's a product market fit, and they want to scale their operations, their businesses, then they raise a good series A round, which somewhere should be somewhere between 4 to 10 million dollars for the scaling up of the business. Now, what as a trend we are seeing into the private market from last couple of years, that in 2020, 2021, and mid of 2022, there was a lot of boom into the private market. Crazy amounts of investments were coming. That's then, and there's when we saw a lot of unicorns emerged in those couple of years. But now times have changed, right? Investors are very conservative on where they want to invest, because of also because of some sort of bad stories which has come, like Byju's, where investors have lost a lot of money. So what has happened is that previously a lot of funding was also being given on the idea level as well. If the bunch of students, if they come up, and not the students, even the working professionals or any at people at any age, coming up with ideas, and if the investors see that they are promising, they give them funds to build it, right? But now this has majorly stopped, until unless somebody is working on a very cutting edge research or deep tech project. This has completely stopped. Now funding is given. when the companies are, or people are able to at least make a minimal viable product, or they are able to kickstart off their services and operations and have some sort of traction. So that is when now funds are being allocated to investors. They are not, funding at ideation stage has almost stopped. It is being given, but of course there are some outliers, but given to very low percentage, right? 98 to 99%. It is on the, at least when the startup is able to see some sort of traction or has developed their at least first prototype. So these are the few of the trends, which because of which I feel startup industry will keep on growing, and some of the insights from my own journey working into the private equity space. Uh, I'm sure one thing. So there is this thing about startup funding, which I've also heard a lot from a lot of founders, is that it's a very closed ecosystem of angels and VCs. There are really handful of ultra HNIs which are into this space. So which also makes this a very closed lobby where getting an entry or making networks is of course difficult. And to be honest, fundraise is all about invest. Get even if it's angel or VC for at VC level, it's all about a game of network. How resourceful you are, right? How much good connections you have with people, sitting on those pile of cash. Now, of course, at college, I've also felt through this and have gone through the same, right? You don't have a lot of quality networks until unless you come from those kind of big backgrounds. Now, so that is why apart from just working on your idea, just working on your getting some traction, building a business, or perfecting the idea, what the students in college should also work on is enlarging their network, meeting out to people who has been in their shoes. They're already doing much better than them into their respective industries, and also invest angels at least who are investing into multiple startups. So a very simple way to do this is to, of course, expand your network through LinkedIn, and also there are a lot of events which has started to happen for in all the big cities, whether it is Delhi NCR, Bangalore, Mumbai, for founders, and they are happening on a weekly basis. Multiple of them being organized. Some of them are even like as big as like quite big events as well, which are organized by big companies who are into investments or who want to promote this startup ecosystem. So, a focus of students would also be to build that resourcefulness and that network, where so that when they are into the they're going out into the market, building to raise their initial capital, so that they can start off their operations, build a business, and get past that initial traction phase to a more of a regular traction phase. That network will be very helpful. They have should have at least 10 to 15 angels that they can go to, and this is something which of course not being built overnight. It has to be a cumulative effort of 3 4 years. So this is more of a in a nutshell that I wanted to share. uh, just would like to hear thoughts from every one of you now, and also the questions. So we can first go for the questions, and then and simultaneously, actually, we can go. And would like to also hear your thoughts, experiences, and so that we can all learn from it, and I can also share some of my viewpoints on it. So I think Mahendraji, you can coordinate with the questions which are everybody would like to ask. Let's not guys, do not just wait. If somebody asks my question, or I will wait. Just feel free to see, and even if you guys do not have any question, your experiences, if you guys can share in a nutshell, it would be very helpful. I think for all of us.
Deep Arulji, welcome in the program. Please.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to know, suppose a student has a good idea, how does he go about approaching people for this?
Yeah, good question and very relevant one also. So No, there are no idea also has a different types, right? Is it a idea which is focused on building a business which is into the, let's say, a service space, or a D2C brand, or into the e-commerce, or it's into a deep tech technology based project, right? So as I said, uh, if a student has an idea, they can definitely go and discuss with people who has done something significant in that industry, who has also, and to the investors as well, to give even a wider perspective and picture, who has done so, who has invested in similar sectors and space. Of course it will require research to be done. They can get and understand what's going to work, how the market is, so that, because a lot of times, I've also done engineering. We get become very good with technology, but a lot of times, and because we are very young, we lack market understanding, what market wants, and how it is going to pan out, and what it should entail to become a successful service or a product or a business. So they of course has to talk to them, right? But if they are going to directly go and approach for the initial rounds of funding at the ideation stage, so then they are going to have a very difficult time, because as I said, it is largely being stopped until unless somebody has a lot of patents coming up into a deep tech idea where they already have a government backing with grants. At that stage, in those sectors and cases, still investments are coming at ideation phase. But first, if they have an idea of the business, they need to talk to industry mentors and validate it, right? Whether they are going into the right direction, and then try it out themselves into the market, whether this with initial traction and initial customers, whether somebody is buying it or not, whether this solution is useful for somebody, is it going to solve their actual problem. And this is the real market validation that they need to do in the next at least a 3 to 6 month journey. Once they are sure that even people around them are validating it, who are experts, who has worked into the similar space, has created something big, and also that the customers are also willing to buy and pay for it. That's the best benchmark to have get an understanding that this is going to work.
So normally students do have an idea, but they have no clue about the market. So as teachers, we can just suggest that they can go and meet people in that industry and talk to them.
Yeah, definitely. And as faculty, as you guys have been working from so many years, you guys have had a lot of students, which, as I'm sure they are doing good into their respective domains and careers, right? You guys can open a Pandora of network to them, especially from the faculty, from the students that you guys have be community and you're a part of. I'm sure all of us has over the years of life have built, has a lot of personal network as well. So I think that's a very good responsibility and good start for them, if the faculty members can help them with their initial networking and helping them meet the right or appropriate people who will be able to share that knowledge and experience with them.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, guys, I saw a lot of faces when I was answering Parul's question.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Yeah, sir. This is Ekta from MH College, second year law student. I want to ask a question regarding the alliance. For example, whenever we wish to start something, like let's say if I want to start a business or if I want to grow into a certain domain. So in order to bloom in that particular domain, we always need a good, strong alliance in which we have to find some like-minded people. And it is very difficult to actually find those people because, sometimes the people that we select doesn't match to, my energy level and my vision and all of that. So in that situation, what should we do? Moreover, my second question over this is, that if we are going in a, let's say it is about the educational platform, okay? So uh, like I have tried this, so that's why I'm actually having this problem, that it is very difficult to find the leads as well. Good teachers, instead of, despite of having like a big population in this country, still the teachers, and I'm not saying about the normal teachers, I'm asking about the qualified teachers who like literally can handle a group of class or even a single student one to one. So I think like for this, we should also take, we have to take some educational steps as well, like where they should be upskilled for the certain things rather than just mugging up the theories and just clearing up the examinations and all of that. So that's my question.
Yeah, so very relevant question, Ikta. Um, First talking about the finding the right network and group of people, of course, who matches your energy, your vision, thought
Hmm.
process. They should also be very aggressive and eager to, and ambitious about their careers and what they want to do with their lives. So a lot of
Exactly.
times, what we actually do is, you know, and this is not just about finding the right group of people. A lot of things in life we treat it as a destiny, as a destination that we want to reach there, right? And everything we would be able to find, let's say if I go to a good college, if I go to a good place, good networking event, or I might be able to find these guys, right? But I think this is more of a journey, right? And the no at a no point you will feel that you have landed up with the right guys. And you may be able to find it on day zero, you may be able to find it after your college, or you sometimes people are not even able to find it after 10 years, 15 years into their careers, or you find it in their late 40s, early 50s, right? So this is more of a journey. What best we can do as a part of our efforts is to make a habit that I'm going to network with at least, I'm going to add two people to my network whom I'm going to actively talk to, understand their life journey, what their thought processes is, what they have done into their life, both on personal and professional front, beginning from professional, of course. Um, so I think this is the way where you keep on doing networking, and networking not just for the transactional way, that what you're going to get from that person, but also adding
Hmm.
value, and building a strong relationship which is going to be cordial and equally beneficial for both of you. So I think that's what you will going to network and meet let's say 1,000 people. Of course, you will not be able to match up with most of them, but I'm sure if you will keep on increasing your sample space, go to quality places, go to quality events and places where good discussions, healthy discussions are being happening, right? So especially since the time LinkedIn has come, it has made everything all of this process much more easier and onto our mobile phones. So I think that's a process which needs to be followed, right? When it will happen, how it will happen, nobody has any answers. But yeah, if we will keep on following the process, you will surely going to end up, with the right bunch of people at some point. At second question regarding the edtech platforms, look what has happened into the past, right? Since after the COVID, edtech was there, of course, before the COVID as well. But just when COVID happened, uh, edtech industry saw a massive boom, right, which no other industry has seen before, right?
Hmm.
And all of these platforms were in high demand. But since we have come back to the normal life, of course, edtech is still running at its own pace now. But that massive splurge has stopped. Now, coming to your question, it's basically called a chicken and eggs problem into the business, right? Until unless you have a lot of students, you will not have a good teacher. Until unless you don't have a good teacher, you will not have a lot of students, right? So
Yes, exactly.
then there are two ways to look at it. First is that you have to think of something innovative out of the box, which others are not thinking, especially all the big players and your competitors, and which is going to be your differentiator and this will come basis on a problem that you're going to solve for students, which is a missing gap into the market. And now what is going to be that is something you have to identify with your empirical research, with your understanding of with your maturity, knowledge, and with your observational skills around you, right? Now once you find that, I think then it will become bit practical to solve that chicken and egg problem, and you will be able to bring something onto the table. Second thing is that if you see there is so much cutthroat competition, right? And a lot of scope is not left to build something which is going to be a significant or big enough business, then it's not a bad idea to refrain from that, right? And think of something else. uh, right? It's because a lot of times we keep on doing the same things and expect
Mhm.
different results. If we see there are a lot of, let's say tomorrow if I want to make a FMCG brand which is going to compete with Unilever, I cannot do it with billions of dollars of capital, without the billions of dollars of capital, right? If I want to, maybe I would like to create a niche category of, let's say I would create a soap which is made out of all the organic materials, right? Does not give you rashes and everything, and it is biodegradable and made out of waste or recyclable materials. So that becomes my value proposition. Now I can build a brand around that, just on that value proposition of that soap, right? And then maybe the FMCG giant like Unilever would like to buy me out for 500 crore or 1,000 crore if I have built a big significant brand, right? So this is basically a concept that is being called a red ocean market and a blue ocean market into our startup language, right? Where red ocean market has a huge market size and potential and customers, but it is also flooded with companies and giants which are not going to which is where you are not be able to compete, right? And nobody is going to, and very few outliers has comes up into the business with piles of cash. It's a very only business houses and business families majorly do that. So somebody coming from a humble background like us, they have to find the gap into the market, right? And go into that niche category, build something out. If you want to play into a red ocean category, or or you move into a blue ocean category where nobody is focusing at. So that's the way to approach
Mhm.
it.
Okay, okay. So like in the nutshell, if I say that where we see immense like competition, unlimited competition, like as in edtech companies, I see like there is like there are multiple edtech companies these days, and
Mhm.
out of which I think like not everyone is that in famous and in limelight, but yes, some of them are like Physics Wala is on the top these days, and then next comes up the Unacademy and all of that. Of course, for that the teachers are there, right? The good teachers, qualified teachers who are actually making it capable of who are the magnet of the platform and attracting children towards them. The main thing comes up like when we are a startup, so of course we cannot pay like that kind of salary what they are paying. And of like the problems that a new edtech company faces is that like the teachers are asking for their expectations are quite higher, and of course we cannot agree on that. So that is also a like thing to
Yeah,
concern for.
it's a look. It's a valid point. Again, this is a chicken and eggs problem, right? Tomorrow, let's say if today, if I see I want to, let's say, build a food delivery aggregator brand which is going to compete with Zomato. Of course, until unless I'm coming up with $1 billion of piles of cash where I'm ready to burn, I cannot do it because I will never have the enough amount of restaurants which are working with Zomato. I will never have enough customer base also, which is Zomato has. Similarly, into the edtech space, we have seen a lot of big brands which has emerged from the last 4 or 5 years, and they have occupied the entire space. Uh, and why would a teacher would like to come to you or come to me if they are not able to pay him more what he's already getting, right? At the end of the day,
Mhm.
we all are in the game of money, right? And
Yes,
that is
yes.
something that we all aspire for. So again, coming into my point again, you have to find that gap, right? Either you
Hmm.
move out of that entire market, go to a market where there are no significant brands which are being built, and there's a lot of gap. You find that niche or that solution or gap in the market. Now, what is going to be that, and what is that into the tech industry? That is something you have to find out. So but if you think you would like to compete with these big giants by playing in a traditional manner, then of course this is not going to work.
Hmm. True. Okay. Okay. Understood. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure. Uh, guys, all of you, I think, must be thinking a lot of things, because since what Mahendra ji has briefed me, you guys have started into enrolling into the program, and this entire startup buzz, of course, is very buzzing into the colleges. So I'm sure you must be thinking a lot of things, having questions or thoughts. Would be great if you guys can share on the floor.
And I also have a certain question from our side.
Mhm.
Many of the faculty members also can think about to become an entrepreneur parallel with the what they are doing these days. So you can ask the questions on your own behalf too.
Yes, very much. And actually, I will just quote this one thing. When I was working with the an investment bank. It was called Alien Technology Transfer. They had a venture studio and an investment bank based in Europe. Mostly a lot of deep tech companies that we were started working with, raise funds for, they were basically not students or the working professionals, but mainly faculties and professors who were doing research, and have done something, found some, cracked something good, and building a business after doing 10 working in colleges for 10 to 20 years. So that's not for students, right? As Mahendra said, it's an opportunity for the faculty members as well, which they should also think of.
True. So we expect some more questions if you have.
Uh, Good morning, sir. This is Dr.
And
Manish Zaru here. Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
yes,
you are
yes, hi,
audible,
Manish.
Maniji.
Sir, I have a question to ask you. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for precisely explaining, elaborating all the threshold requirements with respect to startups and innovation. Now, I have a question to ask you, sir, as an innovator and as an amateur, if I wish to explore the possibilities of innovation, like is there any public platform or public domain that points out the potential areas of thrust to explore and list of potential investors? And in that case, what will be the preference of an investor for the innovate if the innovator sells some number one novel idea, if it is a novel idea which is a product based idea, and in second case it is a process based idea. So what will be the preference of investment of an investor? Will he be willing to prioritize novel idea first or the process based idea first? This is the question, sir.
So comparison between the novel idea and process based idea, as I said uh, previously as well, funding at the ideation stage has stopped. So all the process driven ideas, if you tell to somebody, they will like it and they will applaud you, they will praise you, and then copy it and build of something of their own. They are not going to pay you until unless you have able to get some traction, build
Yes, yes.
a
You
small
had
business.
pointed out that thing. Yeah,
Yes,
it should be
a,
some novel edge. It should have some edge, and it should be concluding, have some conclusion, and some commercial interest of the investor should be there.
yeah. So either you
So
have built a business which is into already into the traction mode where you're
right.
getting customers revenues, then you can sell them off, or give them major stakes, or even if it's a novel idea, right? At idea level, nothing has its value. Even if it's a no,
Understood.
should would be a very significant value. But of course, in India, we are not so grateful people. So we are going to not nobody is going to give any money on the ideation stage. Yes, but at novels with the novel ideas as well, especially with focus into technology and sciences, if you're able to preserve that idea through filing patents, uh, papers, and into the international journals, and able to work on that, and have able to crack something in theory as well, which has patents. So that is some becomes a very valuable point which can be solved off to big companies, to investors, so that then a lot of things can be done, right? But there has to be something which is protecting you, either your business or these patents.
Sir, I was asking about the any public domain that highlights the gaps. I mean to say, as an innovator, if I want to explore and I want to know what is the current gap in a particular technology. So, are there any public platforms or some websites which are pointing out the requirements as far as some new gaps or some gap identification is there? Are there any sites like that?
Mhm. So if you're looking for like a tailor-made Google answer, then I don't think so you will find it.
No,
Of
no. I'm
course,
not doing like no. I'm what I'm asking you, sir. I'm
yeah,
asking,
I'm coming
is
coming
there
on
any
to that.
specific government platform that highlights the
Mhm.
requirements in the form of tenders or in the form of requirements?
So I don't know the exact websites or platforms, to be honest. Yeah, even if you know or I get to know, they will serve purpose for of references, and where we can see, read, and get to know some stuff. But that real gap identification comes by getting into the market, by talking to the customers, by through your own observational skills, where you are able to identify that gap and problem, by going into the shoes of the people who are having those issues, by also talking to people who are working in that industry, and understanding whether they have been able to identify that gap or not, whether they try to fill that gap and it has not worked, what have been the reasons, is there a problem in in its practicality, in feasibility and implementation, or the customers are not ready to even adopt that new innovation, or your solution. So all of it has to be done, right? Finding content on internet or through websites, it is going to give you some sort of a like a reference. It will can show you where the road is, right? But you have to walk that road to see what is the quality of that road, where are the potholes, and where it will lead to.
So,
So
right, sir.
that is the answer.
Sir, are there any documented, some documents or some formats that are created by existing startups or any specific like guide map, a road map that has been done, which is a standard format to be followed to pursue this area? Other than
No,
the
no,
Google, as you said, Google it is, it has number of, any specific documents that are required
no, nothing that
to
sort of.
be, yeah, to be streamlined.
Yeah, nothing that sort of. That's the beauty of the startup ecosystem, right? Because of our education backgrounds and how the education system is set up in the entire country, we tend to think and try to confine a lot of our solutions into these documents, and into the, but even if it's not documents, in the process or structured manner. But
Yes.
in this industry, or in this let's say entire ecosystem, or when you're trying to build something, whether it's a technology, whether it's a business, you will never have like a straight go answers to to your
That is
problems.
true. That's true. You will
Yeah,
have to face
you
the
have
hard
to, yeah,
work.
find
Yeah.
and see what is going to work
Explore.
with you. Of course, there are macro or the macro indicators, which are the paths that you can follow and see what is working
True.
for you and what is not. As I mentioned, like going
Right.
to people who are working in this industry, going and doing empirical research with customers, and seeing and understanding their pain problems, and then maybe trying out a pilot with your solution, whether this is they are liking it, are they going to pay for it, is that a problem
Okay.
that they cannot solve without you. So there are a lot of questions which
Yes,
of
sir.
course needs to be answered and written down, but it
Sir,
again depends on industry to industry.
okay, sir.
Lokesh,
Apart from this, sir, is there any list of investors, potential investors also that is released somewhere, or that also needs to be explored in the identical manner as you mentioned right now?
Look, first investors are always FFF, friends, families, and foes, right?
Okay.
and then
Okay.
the network that you have built in, whether it coming from your personal network or professional network, approaching to that people,
Okay.
because those are the people who has the most trust on you, right?
Trust me.
If they are also not giving you anything or not able to convince to them, then you have to also go back and to the drawing board and work on your ideas and implementation. Then of course, I think all in our profession journeys, all of us has been built a certain set of network which can help us to connect to that. But if you're looking for the list of investors, there are various websites like Crunchbase, Transaction, and Textbook. No, not the Textbook. There is another one as well, which starts from T. PitchBook, yeah. So there are
Right.
3-4 platforms where we can find all of this data, right?
Right,
They
sir.
are of course paid platforms which you can download the data, family
Right, sir.
offices, angels, VCs with their contacts and start approaching them.
Okay. So it's more or less it is primarily dependent on the networking that you establish over the years. Apart from the innovative approach and other terminologies, it is the networking that will convert your business model into commercial model.
Your business model converting into commercial is more of your own
Efforts.
capability and your execution ability. But
Yes.
the entire funding game is based on such a manner. Why invest startups from IIT are getting so much funds? Because of that network effect only.
So, sir, apart from networking, is the major ingredient of being a successful entrepreneur, being an innovator itself, or you don't need to be an innovator? You can just be you can you can be a trendsetter, or you can be a process administrator or something like that also. So,
So
does
you
being
can
an innovator? Yeah,
you can be anyone, right? Till the time market is accepting you and giving you money, right? You can be
true, sir.
anyone.
True. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for the elaborate answers. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So for a quick information adding to the what Lokesh said to Manish ji, there is a platform called Manthan by the principal scientific advisor to the government of India
Right.
for research and innovation. So you can visit the platform, which is a public platform where all industry, government, research, innovation, collaboration opportunity are there. Second, there is another organization in Ahmedabad called National Innovation Foundation. They also used to accept the innovation. They also used to public the innovations and the gaps in around the societies. So these are the two platform which is public platform available. And third, you ask about there's a structured course. Yes, there is a structured course in a Startup India program. You can go log in and do the entire course for startup learning. In fact, the Y Combinator, which is a US-based accelerator program, they also have a playbook, a startup playbook. You search over the net, startup playbook. So you get a
Right.
sequential step of how to be launch a startup and what kind of the ingredient is required prior to coming in the startup segment.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Anyone else want to ask something, or we look forward to close the session?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Yeah, Manvi Nagar this side from MMH College. So actually, sir, I want to ask that which kind of investment one should choose? There are different options, right? Like you told, VC, angel investment, and there are other government schemes like Startup India Seed Fund scheme. So which one will be the better for one who should start a startup? Like which will be more beneficial, which will give a more, help to that startup?
So, good question, Manvi. This entirely depends on the stage and level at which your startup is at, right? At very early stages, where it is very difficult for you to come out with the price round that is, around with a lot fixed valuation, and you're ready to give your equity. And at the stages where you need more money to, to build your product, and you're able to get a grant in a very timely manner, then a government grant, which is non-dilutive, it's a very good way to go, especially for innovative projects being built with into technology and deep tech. I think that, but the time factor is the main factor over there. If we are able to get it within time, then it's a non-dilutive grant, government grant is a very good start, right? Then I think it's better you start finding out the investors into the angel ecosystem, where you can go to the angel platforms, angel funds, or there's a lot of micro funds which are being launched these days, which are focused into specific sectors. So also individual angels who are serial entrepreneurs or be like multimillionaire people having a lot of wealth. So these people can be a good start because they have short life cycle for the conversion as compared to VCs. Plus, in the initial stages, we will not have a lot of numbers to justify your business, and also to project what you can make out of it, because you are at that stage you are more of like a building your product and trying to see how your customers are going to respond to it as compared to as what VCs see that how you can scale it. So that's the kind of order you can follow. However, of course, you will see outliers, SaaS companies who are going to raise funds from directly from Sequoia Capital at and they will raise a 10-15 million dollar in the seed stage itself, right? But then it's a kind of what the kind of do you have that resourcefulness in you that you can directly take funds from a VC. If you're able to do it from a VC because that they sit in the top tier of the funding ecosystem, then nothing like it. But but mostly startups, they follow the journey of either getting a grant or getting funds from individual angels, then from the small angel funds, and then going to the VC ecosystem.
Okay, thank you, sir.
No more questions? All right, so I believe the silence says that we should move to say thanks to Lokesh you and for your wonderful interactive session here, and your content and the kind of examples you put it in the session definitely help them to be come in this domain and ignite them to do for a lot of research in this domain. Although 20-40 minute session will not give the complete knowledge about the investment and the deep startup ecosystem. And there's a many of the pieces which could not be covered now in this duration. But I definitely believe that the Q&A, the people ask about a lot of questions definitely have certain ignition in it. And they go back and learn a lot of things through the Google it and Azen and furthermore sessions. Thank you for sharing all your expertise knowledge and joining us in this program. Thanks to every participant who are coming here, and I believe you get back and do a lot of research in over it and come back to the questions later on. Thank you, Lokesh.
Thank you, Mahendraji, for having me here, and you
Thank
guys
you.
have been
Same
a
here.
wonderful audience. Yeah, and all of you guys have asked very innovative questions. Next time, I will looking forward to interact more with you guys and discuss more on higher level, stuff, so that we can, contribute, and you guys can also contribute to the lives of hundreds of your students.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.